So just to review, the new box is going to have a decent amount of support for a few archetypes and like decks in the game. The most generic is going to be the rank 4 support. We're going to see some stick chair combo, which for those that don't know, Star Seraph Scepter and Star Seraph Sovereignty. And then these two cards are like the stick chair combo. And if you see both of them in combination, they're pretty decent. They do generate some card economy for you. The only issue is that if you don't see them together, they're kind of like vanilla, just normal summons. You know, they don't do a whole lot without each other. The scepter does some stuff on its own just because it searches out the hair. However, if you don't see both of them at the same time, it's like really slow and overall I don't think it's going to be that impactful on the meta. I think some people are going to try to use it just because some people don't mind inconsistent strategies. However, I don't think it's going to be consistent enough to be um, meta. Um, and Rescue Rabbit, I'd say, won't be super relevant now. However, moving forward, summoning the phrase "summon from your deck" is like are really strong. Like it's something to look at, you know. So anytime something says special summon two of something from your deck, like that should catch your attention. The only issue is that we don't have any like super impactful XYZs, um, or nothing that's like super like you would want to spend your entire turn one summoning. Um, So that's why I think at the moment Rescue Rabbit isn't going to be that great. However, going forward is it has a ton of future potential if we get like any number of very specific XYZs that have like more limiting uh, materials. We'll definitely see Rescue Rabbit like jump up in value. Um, Next, I'd say Tellarknights, Constellars. Um, there's some neat stuff, and I think the Ptolemy, this card will definitely see some value, but it won't see like meta value. Um, you're probably going to see this in Onomatopoeia decks, and you're going to see this in Thunder Dragons. However, those decks aren't really the meta; they're kind of roguish. So, for those reasons, you can maybe expect to see it on ladder a few times, but it's not going to be like a meta dominating strategy, or it's not going to be the most helpful. Uh, just because Thunder Dragons, they're not very consistent. However, they have a play where they will turn one summon a Force Focus, whereas Force Focus is kind of not that useful. But Ptolemy is like once per turn, you can bounce one monster on your opponent's field or in the graveyard, and that's like really good. So I'd say, well, it's not even your opponent's graveyard. You can also like recover stuff from your own graveyard. So in like grind games, there's also value there. So I think this card has once again potential to it. However, at the moment, we probably won't see it being too meta impactful. And for regular Tellarknights, we're gonna see the new Dark Tellarknight, which helps you go into the Deltaros, which is really good. The fact that you only need two monsters to go into a Deltaros instead of making like a full board into a Deltaros is pretty good. However, the main drawback is that Karma Cut is in the meta, and you have to think if I summon this and then I activate the effect to summon a Deltaros, they can just Karma Cut my monster, and then I lose so many cards for just all of that, you know. So it's like Um, the problems of Tellarknights still remain of it's not a bad deck. However, like the cards you have to invest to summon your boss monster are just not worth the drawbacks that you're gonna have because of how like strong the removal is at the moment. So I think Tellarknights, their support, it's nice, but it might not be enough. So moving on, Hieratics. All right, Hieratics. Uh, I'll be honest. I think it's probably not going to be used pure Hieratics. You're probably not going to see this deck as like that someone's running just only hieratic cards and maybe like some cosmic cyclones or whatever. You're probably going to see the most value out of their XYZs. So if we look at Heliopolis and we look at Atum, so I don't think we have anything at the moment that's generic enough, or like any deck that can make this. However, it is to a degree generic, so in the future we may see like other decks using this to summon some boss monsters out of the deck, or like some monsters with good effects out of the deck. Um, and Heliopolis has like a pretty insane effect because um, you detach one XYZ material, and then after you do, your opponent has to choose to respond to that detach. It doesn't tribute for cost, it tributes for effect, which is a pretty key difference because if you uh, activate the effect to detach a material, and then your opponent like chains a Karma Cut, for instance, um, you can just decide how many cards you tribute on resolution. Whereas if you have to do it before, then it it's just it gives you more power as the person destroying the cards. So in addition to being like one of the first rank 8s we have, so it's also got 3,000 attack, pretty decent support with Blue Eyes, so there's probably going to be some synergy there, but overall I don't think Hieratics are going to be used like in their own deck. It's going to be seen use outside of their own deck. And lastly, Noble Knights. So I think Noble Knights, this is going to be the most meta impactful, but it's not going to be defining. Um, so Pelennor and Kustanin are both very strong cards. So Pelennor, for those that don't know, you can target a equip spell or noble arm equip, and then a monster your opponent controls, destroy them both, and then you draw a card. And all the noble arms like will re-equip, so it's essentially just free +2. You target an equip spell and an opponent's monster. You destroy the equip spell and their monster. You draw a card, and then the equip spell comes back. So you both draw a card and destroy their monster. So that's a +2 in card advantage. So this effect is pretty strong. However, you're probably not going to be using more than one of it, just because the core playstyle of Noble Knights is already defined around the Madrot and the Merlin like combo of setting up a turn one and setting using boars to send the until noble arms are needed again to the grave. So for those reasons, Pelennor probably won't be used in heavy amounts. However, you can pretty much get away with just like adding one to your deck, and then you'll be fine. Um, and I think the same kind of goes for Kustanin. Just because the deck Noble Knights is really good at summoning their rank 5 because the combo with boars is so effective. So that's generally what you want to be setting up on your turn 1. However, as a follow-up turn, if you can summon a rank 4, this is like probably your best engine-based rank 4. So I think there's a decent chance that instead of having so many trap cards, which I know some Noble Knight decks have been going to running, say, 9 or possibly more trap cards. Um, with the introduction of Kusunin, maybe they might dial back the traps a bit and focus more on engine cards, just because Kusunin and Pelennor are really strong removal options. Well, Pelennor is really good at destruction, and then Kusunin is bouncing, which is like pretty relevant because everything is so extra deck focused. So for those reasons, I think these won't be changing the Noble Knight deck, but they will definitely support them. So uh, I would say thanks everybody. Thanks for everybody for watching my YouTube video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Smile.